Hello and welcome to Sunday's Birmingham News Weekend magazine. It's our relaxed look around Birmingham and the West Midlands, so let's see what we've got in store for your Sunday tea time. Well, we'll kick off with a look back at this week in the wide world of sport. Carl will join us for the business news and also a look at the film world. I'll be seeing what's up on the good old community notice board, and Jason Forrest will join us with another interesting guest. We'll be taking a look at a very special part of our area, Barbican, and Des and Sasha will tell us what's on this week. We'll be experiencing a touch of the arts, and of course Norman Bartlam will tell us what's so special about this month. So it's all within the pages of Sunday's Weekend magazine. So then, first up, let's have a look back over the week in the wide world of sport.
In sport, we're all set for a huge week of tennis at the Edgbaston Priory as the Aegon Classic is about to get underway. 5 of the world's top 10 female tennis players will grace the turf as the grass court season begins. Two-time Grand Slam champion and current world #1 Angelique Kerber will be hoping to reclaim the title which she clinched in 2015. There'll be no Maria Sharapova, of course, due to injury, and we keep our fingers crossed there'll be no last-minute pullouts, but there's no shortage of quality with the likes of Madison Keys and Johanna Konta present. The Lowdown's George Hancorn caught up with the tournament director Patrick Hughesman ahead of the start of play.
First of all, kind of just summarise what you've been up to over the past few days as we kind of get ever closer to the weekend.
Well, you can probably tell from down here at the Edgbaston Priory Club, it's a hive of activity with a lot of contractors and things being put into place, getting ready for the qualifying, which takes place this coming Saturday. So it's all the finishing touches, the retailers, the caterers. You can tell now that the grass is being cut to 8mm, which is the playing length of the grass for the world's best players. So very busy time, but it's all coming together. Really looking forward to the tournament.
And you've got a big, strong team as well behind you, of various different roles. Just kind of summarise some of those key bits. You talk about the grounds team as well. Obviously, we've chatted to the ball team, but there's many different roles that kind of take place behind the scenes, aren't there?
Oh, wow, yeah, there's a whole host of teams that are in action. You've mentioned the grounds team. We have quite a large ball crew of about 60, 70 kids. They need a little management team to take care of themselves. Obviously, security is a very important feature for all events these days, so we've got a big security operation in action. You've got all the caterers, a lot of catering team that will be on site during the week. Everything, electricians, plumbers, you name it, we've got it. So we've probably got up to, I don't know, 500 people on site any one time, making sure that everything behind the scenes is working really well for the tournament, because we have got some of the world's very best players coming to this tournament. So you've got the world #1, Angelique Kerber, fantastic to have her in action, but she's going to have a really tough week of tennis ahead of her. She's got Great Britain's top 10 player, Johanna Konta. She's currently ranked 8 in the world. Former Wimbledon champion Petra Kvitova is going to be here as well. Former French Open champion Garbine Muguruza. So there's a whole host of tough-fought matches to be had on the centre court and also the outside match courts. Qualifying is this weekend. Great opportunity to come down, get a flavour of what's to come for the main draw. Forecast is really good, so we're expecting some cracking tennis here at the Aegon Classic Birmingham.
Now, this is the thing, of course, when people think about coming out and turning up to events, weather is a big deal, isn't it, for them? But next week is looking fantastic, so it's going to be very exciting. You're hoping for big numbers, large numbers this year.
We're looking for record ticket sales. Our ticket sales are very strong at the moment. I'd urge people to buy their tickets as soon as they can. If they buy tickets ahead of the day, they can save themselves £5. But with the weather forecast looking very favourable for us, we're expecting it's going to be a very popular place to be. What a great day of entertainment for everyone to come down and enjoy themselves. Obviously the tennis, but there's a lot of off-court things to do, the catering, the barbecue area. We've got an Explore Wimbledon, which is all about the idols of women's tennis that's taking place here during the whole tournament. So really is a day of lovely experience for people to come down. Strawberries and cream, Pim's lemonade, all those things that you associate with world-class tennis and the summer events.
It all sounds fantastic. So just remind us how people can come down, those tickets as well.
Best to go, if they Google search Aegon Classic or Aegon Classic Birmingham, that'll come up, and then they can just click on the links and buy tickets from there.
Thanks very much, Lee. Welcome to the Birmingham Business Studio for our weekly look at some of the West Midlands economy news over the last 7 days. Unemployment is down across the Black Country and Staffordshire as national figures have fallen to their lowest in more than a decade. But wages also continue to fall behind inflation, with the pay gap getting bigger, putting more pressure on family finances. In the West Midlands, unemployment rose by 6,000 to 166,000 in the 3 months to April. Lockmaker Assa Abloy has announced plans to spend more than £3 million on improving its head office and its factory in Willenhall. The company says it's demonstrating its commitment to the Black Country with the building of a new innovation centre. The demolition of Wolverhampton's iconic Goodyear factory could begin as early as next month. Plans submitted to the City Council mean the bulldozers could be there as early as July the 1st. St Modwen is planning to build more than 200 homes on the site, which was once the European headquarters of the Goodyear operation, but the factory closed in December last year. A free workshop on marketing strategies for the modern business world is being held by the Black Country Growth Hub. It'll be held at the Wolverhampton Business Solutions Centre on July the 3rd. Details are available online. Construction group Lovell has signed a deal to move on to the Quinton Business Park in Birmingham to set up its new regional office. Mark Robinson of commercial agency KWB said the park was now close to 100% occupancy, largely thanks to its proximity to the M5 motorway. But as one firm moves into Birmingham, another moves out. Insurance broker Premium Choice is relocating from the Fort Dunlop complex in Castle Bromwich to a new base in Wolverhampton. Bosses said the move to the Penderford Business Park was down to its rapid expansion. Now, a campaign to encourage more young people to consider a career in the farming industry has been declared a big success. We went to Forge Hill Farm in West Bromwich to find out about their open farm day.
We're over the moon. It's been really busy today. It's really great to have the kids out here having a look at agriculture and all the different things that we do in a day. It opens up a whole new world of possibilities. There's lots of careers now available in agriculture and it gives these guys a chance to see some of those careers in action and all the different things that go on farm. We have farmers, agronomists who look after crops in the ground. Our farmers cover lots of different things. They could be growing crops, they could be looking after livestock, they could be milking dairy cows. So we're promoting all that here today. The milk that goes onto your cornflakes, the food that we eat every day, all comes from agriculture.
Now, back in 2009, father and son team John and Stephen Wilbur designed and engineered a credit card-sized stand for holding smartphones. And after many changes to the mechanisms, the materials and the finishes, the first Standeasy was born.
John, can you tell me a bit about the Standeasy?
Yes, I used to travel quite a lot, and on planes I often want to use the phone, and I ended up decimating polystyrene beakers so much. My son, in a similar position, and he did a bit more sophisticated than me, he used to bend Starbucks cards into a stand. And then we both started to try and develop a better one, and we discussed it and we came up with Standeasy. The first viable one was made out of a polypropylene sheet like this. My wife's an artist, so she put the images on. You can't see this, I guess, but that's a kiss. If you look at the white parts, either side of the tree, there are two people kissing. Companies like Warner Brothers and Vodafone in Iceland used to have these printed with their information and give them away at exhibitions. And this is fine for supporting a smartphone, but it wouldn't be very good. You can't do it and just fall over. So it's not strong enough. So we made this for a while, and then we started to make an injection moulded version. But now it is a lot stronger. So much stronger that it will support an iPad in landscape, not in portrait, but in landscape. That worked well, and we sold a lot of these. But it's still not strong enough to really support an iPad. So we're looking for some kind of laminate that would do the job. So this is very flexible. It's flexible because it has a layer of aluminium, a layer of polypropylene and a layer of aluminium. Okay. The advantage of this is you can give these away as business cards. So many people have seen it all over the world that we're getting requests now from all over the world. Can we sell it for you?
I'll be talking in more detail to father and son team John and Stephen Wilber on Birmingham Business, 7 o'clock on Sunday. Don't forget, if you liked your business news and you'd like to get involved in the show, send me an email to carl.jones@madeinbirmingham.tv. You may have a talking point for the business programme or our big engine debate, which of course you can see again tomorrow at 8 a.m. See you next week.
Time to take a break now, and when we come back I'll be taking a look to see what we've got up on this week's community notice board, and Carl will have the film news. Stay with us. And welcome back. Still to come later on in the show, we'll be seeing what's on in the West Midlands, plus we'll be taking a look at a very special part of our area. So then, time for the community notice board. It's the news that you send to us. And of course, as always, if there's something that you reckon we could mention, do get in touch. But as always, give us plenty of notice, and then we'll give you all the important details in a few minutes' time. Now, the City of Wolverhampton Council is set to make the first official step in designating the Worley and Essington Canal as a new local nature reserve, one of the so-called LNRs. Now, the move comes following consultation with the residents on the proposals by City of Wolverhampton Council, Walsall Metropolitan Borough Council and the Canal and River Trust, and they include plans to increase access and improve habitat alongside the canal. The scheme will cover the 6-kilometre Worley and Essington Canal corridor stretching from Wolverhampton city centre to the edge of Walsall, and all the areas of open space alongside it. A collaboration agreement will then be made between the three partners, which includes a commitment to jointly manage the local nature reserve for wildlife, education and enjoyment purposes for at least 21 years. The LNR section in the City of Wolverhampton will also be declared as a site of importance for nature conservation, otherwise known as SINC, S-I-N-C. And it's in recognition of the high wildlife value of the site, which is a home for dragonflies, butterflies, water birds, coarse fish and rare aquatic plants. Now, LNRs are typically owned and managed by the local council, and this LNR is unique because as the majority is owned and managed by the Canal and River Trust, with areas of adjoining land owned and managed by the City of Wolverhampton Council and Walsall Metropolitan Borough Council. That's why all three are involved, and it's worth going to visit them as well. We do like that. Now, the name has been revealed for a new family-friendly pub restaurant on the Bilston Urban Village development, as well as a number of jobs it'll create. The Bankfield Road venue is said to be called the White Rabbit, and it's a nod to the mining heritage of Bilston and the surrounding areas during the 18th century. Now, the name, which was chosen by Marston's, came from local accounts from the time stating that miners were said to be haunted by an evil spirit, causing great danger at the mines for workers. Now, the leader, who was deeply troubled by this, instigated a ceremony to ask for protection and guidance from the White Rabbit, which was a symbolic white witch figure who protected the miners and banished the evil spirit for good. Now, it'll create up to 45 new jobs, and the pub is expected to open in early October. It'll include a spacious garden area and designated car park for over 60 spaces. The pub will provide a new town centre destination, and it fits in with Bilston Urban Village's key objective to enhance Bilston as a place to live, work, invest and visit, supporting the quality and range of facilities available within the town. It's going to sit between the Burt Williams Leisure Centre and the Morrison's supermarket. Like the sound of that, the White Rabbit, yeah. Now, a bit of culture for you now. The Library of Birmingham is hosting the first UK exhibition by leading contemporary Czech artist Pavel Brazda. Now, Pavel Brazda is here organised by the Embassy of the Czech Republic, Birmingham City Council and the Icon Gallery. And the exhibition is on now until the 1st of July. It presents a selection of works from the artist's colourful human comedy cycle in celebration of a career which spans more than 7 decades. And you can find out more by having a look at www.libraryofbirmingham.com. Now, organisers of Tamworth's first ever yoga festival are bending over backwards. Get it? Yeah, they're bending over backwards to ensure that the event is a success. Holistic treatments, meditation and vegan food will also be on offer at the Yoga in the Park event, which will be held at the North Warwick Recreational Centre in Hermitage Hill in Polesworth on Sunday the 25th of June. Now the day will be suitable for all the family, and it'll include a kids' corner where children can enjoy a yoga treasure hunt, garden games, kids yoga classes, a bouncy castle and plenty of ice cream. I think I'm sold on that. Anyway, yoga classes will be held throughout the day, and there'll also be meditation, Reiki, crystal healing and massage. A range of stalls will sell wellbeing related products such as organic food, jewellery and leisurewear. Hay bales will provide ideal resting places, with everyone invited to bring along a picnic. Musical entertainment will be from a folk band, and there'll be a bar in the clubhouse, and if the weather's rainy, all the activities will just take place in the clubhouse and marquee. So general admission is either a £5 or a £10 depending on your age, and that includes as many yoga classes as you like, and the important thing is that all the proceeds go to save the children. So it's taking place at North Warwickshire Cricket Club in Tamworth, Sunday the 25th of June, and you can get your ticket from skiddle.com by searching for Tamworth Yoga. So there you go, that's what we found pinned to this week's community notice board. And if you know about something that we could be telling people about, why don't you get in touch? But as always, give us at least a week's notice. You can email news@madeinbirmingham.tv. On social media, look us up, send us a message. We are at MadeInBhamTV, or just use the hashtag Birmingham News. And of course, as ever, we'll have more for you at the same time next week. And now it's time for some movie news, and fresh from his daily film slot in the Lowdown, let's welcome back Carl Jones.
Thanks very much, Lee. Well, how's this for a film title? Winston Churchill and the Egyptian Mummy. I reckon that's a good cross-genre film we could look at in some years' time. These are actually, though, two different films I want to talk to you about today. Opening this weekend is a film quite simply called Churchill, telling the 3 or 4 day story in the lead up to the D-Day landings, with Brian Cox playing Winston Churchill, determined to fight them on the beaches, but showing quite a lot of insecurity behind the scenes. Take a look.
We defy Hitler. It is time to win this great war. For 5 long years, we have asked our men to endure the tribulations of war. General Eisenhower. Winston. General Montgomery.
Mr. Churchill.
What a gathering. If Hitler were to drop a bomb on this little patch, he would destroy the entire high command of our Allied forces.
We are here to make the greatest decision of our lives.
The invasion of France, taking the German army head on. I've seen this before. 250,000 men were cut down at Gallipoli. We must spread the risk.
The plans for D-Day have been in place for over a month.
I don't want to make the same mistake.
The forces are not carrying out your plans.
We're taking care of it. You need to let us do the job.
I beg your pardon. I am the Prime Minister of this country, and I shall not be stopped from speaking my mind.
You can't just change everything over the heads of our allies.
Don't assume you're the only one capable of making decisions.
I need your help.
Try acting like a hero, Winston, and then maybe people will believe that you are one.
Men will die.
That's enough! My fiancé is on one of those ships. I'm sorry. I have no right.
You have every right.
He's not the man he was. He could be a liability as a leader.
Would you have us do nothing with the Nazis massing 20 miles off our shores?
No! I would have us do more!
This magnificent effort of air, land, and sea.
We must launch now.
He has to address the nation tomorrow.
Either to tell them we're winning the war, or that we've just killed thousands of people. Whatever happens, we must give them hope.
When it's all over, what will I be?
You will always be the man who led us through this.
Our troops will fight on, and we shall never surrender.
So there you go. Winston Churchill's painted in this as a bit of a bullying personality, certainly somebody that's got self-doubt, and also someone who comes head-to-head with a lot of his military chiefs who've got some doubts about his strategy. But of course it will play well to people who want to celebrate the stiff upper lip British spirits. That's Churchill, which opened this weekend. The film that's been packing them in at the box office this week, though, is the remake of The Mummy. Tom Cruise plays the title role in this one, which is the first Mummy film from 18 years since Brendan Fraser brought it back. In this one, it's it's fair to say he does his usual action man technique, throwing himself into all the stunts with British actress Annabelle Wallis from Peaky Blinders fame. In fact, you might know her. And you can see in a clip here, they're running into a spot of bother in an out-of-control ambulance.
Jerry?
So there you go, something for all the family. Churchill for the historians, the Mummy for the action junkies. I'll be back same time next week with movie news, and I'll also, of course, be reporting every night on The Lowdown to tell you what's hot and what's not in the world of cinema. See you soon.
Thanks very much, Carl, and of course he'll be back next week. So then, time for another break now, and when we come back, it'll be time to take a very special look at an interesting part of our region. Plus, we'll have our regular look at the arts, and of course, Des and Sasha will be here to see what's coming up during the forthcoming week. I'll see you in a few minutes. Welcome back to the programme with me, Lee Bannister. Now for the next in our mini-series of films from Bar Beacon in Walsall, which has recently seen the completion of the Raising the Bar project. A Heritage Lottery Fund grant helped to restore the landmark war memorial, as well as other heritage features. It also funded a programme of community involvement with activities ranging from walks and talks to archaeological digs and music festivals. All of these and more will feature throughout the series.
One of the first tasks of Raising the Bar was the restoration of this war memorial, which dates back to 1933 and is made of Portland stone.
The copper that was on the roof, that was unfortunately stolen 3 or 4 times, so it was covered in tarpaulin, so it didn't look in a very good state really. And also the stonework which was worked on was weathered away, so there was like the water would get in there, it freeze and it'd break up the stonework. The topograph, which is basically a map centred around Bar Beacon, looking around, seeing all the points around that had been stolen and removed, so we're having a new one put in there. It's going to be new railings in there as well, so it looked totally refurbished but still in keeping with the heritage of the building.
The roof is completely rotten on top of the dome. What we're having to do now is strip off all the timber work and replace it section for section exactly how it came off. We have to replace all the structural elements and the fixings to it so that by the time the roof coverings go back on, obviously we put in a robust structure back in place.
As you can see, the timber now is completely shot. These are the original fixings, the bolts, which we're actually cutting off and we're going to put new stainless steel bolts in there, which their lifespan could be anything up to 100 years.
The main challenge is the roof and choosing a material that wasn't going to be as a target for metal thieves in the future, which was one of the reasons for the choice of VM zinc.
It's important that we are restoring the memorial because it's one of the iconic areas in the West Midlands. It's really high. It's important for local people of Walsall, and also it was built some 80 years ago to remember the people in the First World War, so it's important to remember them. And for current people who use the site and also future generations, we have a lot of school kids up here doing different projects, so them to respect the area and respect the area for the future. So if it looks that it's well kept, looked after, and people are concerned and feel a lot for the area, then in the future hopefully that will continue.
After 9 months of hard work by various contractors and stonemasons and roofers, we've reached the completion of the actual restoration work of the part of the project, and now we're moving on with the community involvement side. We've actually got a real sort of focus for getting people up here now because they can see the work that's been done so far. The memorial, especially on a day like today, looks absolutely wonderful in the glorious sunshine, almost like a beacon on the hill. And we've had a lot of positive comments from visitors and site users.
I'm very impressed with it. Yes, yeah. We've been up time before and it's really been dilapidated, you know. I heard about all the trouble with the thieves and now it looks very nice.
The roof used to be made of copper, but due to theft and vandalism, through raising the bar, we were able to restore the dome with zinc. It looks just the same, only it's less valuable and, we hope, less tempting to thieves. The metal is also marked with Smart Water, a special coating that means if someone tries to sell it for scrap, the police will know it's stolen from here. And we've got CCTV covering the site too. Under the dome is this central plinth, featuring plaques commemorating the dedication and rededication of the memorial, and a mounted direction finder or topographic disc. And you can use this and our mobile phone app to help you spot and identify features in the surrounding landscape.
And Marverine will be back with more about Barbeacon at the same time next week. So then, are you wondering what's on around our area? Well, worry no more, because here come Des and Sasha to fill us in.
This is what's on. Sasha, where are we?
We are at Bistro Pierre, which is on the waterside, and it's a Grade 2 listed building, which used to be the toll house for the canal boats, and it's absolutely stunning, really, really beautiful.
They have some great deals as well. Every Tuesday, Tuesdays fortnights and Wednesdays fortnights, they have great special offers with wine and tasting menus, and just get down. I mean, what a place to eat. Fantastic. Right, here we go. Me first. Do you like gin?
I'm partial to gin, yes.
That's a good start. Did you know that we drink 40, not you and me, as a whole, we drink 40 million bottles of gin a year, which makes over 1 billion gin and tonics.
That's a lot of gin and tonics, isn't it? I probably contribute a bit to it.
I try my best. Well, evidently last week it was National Gin Day, so I thought there's a few places to try out because it's like gin is in, you know, gin is in.
Gin is in?
Yeah. So if you go down, what used to be the Fiddle and Bone on Sheepcote Street is now called the Distillery, and they actually make their own gin. It's called the Roundhouse Gin.
Wow.
And also on Steelhouse Lane, just down up from the police station, Jekyll and Hyde is open every Thursday, Friday and Saturday. The Gentleman is upstairs, and he'll give you a choice of over 100 gins from all around the world.
And a twist on afternoon tea sees gin being served in special cups. I quite like this. This is exciting, something a bit fancy. And the Moseley serve at the Edgbaston and the Hotel du Vin are two that are really, really popular. So if you like gin and fancy cups, that's your place to go.
I like gin. Right, a few music concerts coming up. Now these are interesting. Recently announced Katy Perry is coming to the Barclaycard Arena next year on the 14th of June. Also the Barclaycard Arena this November on Sunday the 19th, synth pop legends Depeche Mode. Do you know who they are?
I don't know who they are.
I thought you wouldn't do.
I know Katy Perry though.
Yeah,
so.
Depeche Mode, their visit as part of their Spirit Tour. And local lad Harry Styles, right, he's from Redditch. I only found out the other day.
I didn't know.
He's recently added a date to his solo tour to include the Genting Arena on Saturday the 7th of April next year. Now, that's a long way away. And the way kids are nowadays, I think, they're very fickle about music, aren't they? You know, are they still going to be, you know, April next year? Knock, knock.
Who's there?
One Direction.
One Direction who?
Exactly.
But the thing is, I think Harry Styles fans are like the hardcore, we love him kind of people, so I think they'll be going. And at the Hippodrome, from Wednesday until Saturday, a stunning triple bill of one-act ballets complete Birmingham Royal Ballet's 2016-17 season. So, if you want to pop on your tutu...
Not a pretty sight.
And classic Hans Christian Andersen tale Le Baiser de la Fée, is that good?
That was good.
Portrays how a fairy saves a young boy's life in the show by choreographer Michael Corder. And Pineapple Pole is a Gilbert and Sullivan tale of a gang of girls, a crew of sailors aboard HMS Hot Cross Bun, featuring witty choreography from John Cranko.
Sounds good. And Gig of the Week. Now, get the bell ready. This is a tricky one because you've got keyboard maestro Rick Wakeman. He's going to be at the Town Hall on Saturday. Mott the Hoople legend Ian Hunter is going to be at the Symphony Hall on Sunday. So, but then I thought, Kiefer Sutherland, you know, from 24?
Yeah.
He's got a really, really good voice. I checked him out on YouTube. And he's going to be at the O2 Academy 2 on Wednesday. So, Kiefer Sutherland is my gig of the week. Over to you.
Thanks, guys. And of course, they'll be back here at the same time each week. Plus, you can catch up with what's going on during the rest of the week on Thursday's edition of The Lowdown. Right, time for a break now. Don't go anywhere because we've got an appointment with Jason in the Mill Bar. And as ever, our Norma will be seeing what's so special about this week. Plus, we'll take a look at the weekend weather too. I'll see you in a few minutes. And welcome back to the final part of today's programme. Right, let's make our regular call to the Milk Bar now with Jason Forrest. Nick J. Townsend of local band Week 13 has found himself immortalised in a horror novel penned by American author Edward Gellert. Stourbridge-based Nick chats with Jason about his imaginary life after the rapture.
Nick Townsend from Week 13 has found himself in a book. To tell us more about it, he is with me now and he'll explain a bit more about what Edward Gellert's been up to over in the US. Hi Nick, how you doing?
Pleased to meet you. Edward Gellert, I met via my agent, Debbie Stewart. She networks with a lot of people in Los Angeles, and we met on the... I was filming in Los Angeles with my agent. She got me connected, like networking-wise, with this author. He specialises in horror. At the time, I was just really interested in his first book, Dark Harvest. It was a really good horror. It was set in during the Rapture. Mm-hmm. So the Rapture's happened, and all the characters have to kind of... They're kind of working out, is this a Rapture, or is this geoengineering, or is this something else? So there's clues in the book. It's really well written. I was absolutely a big fan of it. So I kind of told him I liked his book. Yeah. And I think about 12 months later, he said to me, wouldn't it be funny if your band was in the States during the Rapture, when that happened, I kind of think you'd handle it really well. I just kind of laughed it off, you know, on Facebook. I said, yeah, I'd probably do this and this, and it was just a kind of to and fro in, nothing really going with the idea. I mean, he turned around and he said, I can't want you in the book. And I was trying to work out how that would work. I was like, well, we haven't had an apocalypse yet, so how would I be in your book?
Yeah.
And he said, well, what if you were you after the apocalypse? In my universe. So
see, an apocalypse can affect your downloads as a band, can't it, really? If there's not so many people around with their iPhones.
Way, maybe in a positive way, because the apocalypse is really popular now, I guess. But,
so they're all on vinyl after the apocalypse?
I imagine it's all analogue.
Yeah.
But, in the book, there's no mention of iPhones. I don't know how that even works, but I'm not really playing gigs during the apocalypse. I'm trying to survive killing demons, and with a series of characters, really well-written characters. There's a French chap, there's all sorts of different people, all together for different reasons in Missouri. And I've kind of entered an already established group of characters. So I've been introduced into the series. They've got their kind of hesitations about trusting me or not, and then we develop trust. I don't want to give too much away, but I kill a lot of people. And demons.
Obviously demons. Demons are okay. But is it weird reading about yourself with these exploits? Is that just a wholly odd experience?
Well, it is weird. And these are horrible creatures I'm killing. And the way it works is because I wasn't expecting this. When he approached me and he said, I like you in the book, he knew me a little bit, but he had to watch a lot of interviews, see how I talk, how I react to certain words I'd use, mannerisms. And at first, when he gave me some chapters to work with, just so he could work out if the character was developing more to sound like me. And at first, I did pick up on a few things. I said, well, I wouldn't talk like that. That sounds a bit like kind of London Cockney. But the book is horror. It's really well written. I like the style of writing. And because this is me being in this book, I wouldn't have trusted any old person to have done this. Edward is a fantastic writer. He does his research. He really spent a lot of time making sure I was happy. I didn't have anything to do with the plot. I might have suggested a few things, but it's down to him how this character runs in the book. I was expecting a small appearance. He became a main character. So when I found that I was a main character, that was a lot of responsibility on my shoulders, because I thought, what if nobody likes this character? And apparently he's really popular. Or I'm really popular, apparently, in the apocalypse.
Well, that's good. I mean, if you're going to find your place anywhere, an apocalypse is a good place to do it.
Yeah, there's less critics in the apocalypse.
Is it worthwhile reading the first in the series and then progressing on to the second one? So
I would, but some people might just want to see me. But I would say
that's understandable.
I read both books, and there's going to be a third one and possibly more after that.
Now, do you know whether you feature in the third yet, or again, can't we talk about that?
I know if I do or don't.
Okay. Again, an unusual experience. And how do the rest of the band feel about this?
Well, I think they were just a little bit. I think they thought. I told them about this about a year ago, and I think they probably just thought, oh, it's probably just a name of the book. You know, probably mentioned it. I don't think they're expecting whole chunks of storyline and me running through Missouri with axes and hammers and saving or being saved by different characters in the books, and their names are mentioned in the book as well, because I will talk about my band. I think one thing I'd say is realistically I would talk about my band. My partner was a little bit disappointed because she's kind of in the book, because I mentioned I want to get back to England and has everyone got a plane or something I can get over there. But because she wasn't mentioned by name, she was a little bit that close to getting mentioned. But my band members get in. And I always wear these gloves, apparently. I'll tell you, I never actually used to wear gloves, but my character in the apocalypse does. So if anyone wonders why is Nick always wearing gloves all the time, it's because I've picked up that my character in the book kind of wears these gloves, so I thought, I'll start wearing gloves a bit more, and I actually realised they suit me. So
looking good. So as life imitates art and vice versa and back again, look out for Nick Townsend in a fantastic series of books, and who knows what's going to happen next. But Nick, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thanks very much, Jason, and of course we'll have more from the Milk Bar at the same time next week. But if that's not enough for you, then the Milk Bar is also on the radio and it's a podcast too, so just go to the bar, order up, www.themilkbarpodcast.com to find out more. Right, let's take a quirky but interesting trip back in time with everyone's favourite historian. I always say that, and it's true, it's Norman Bartlam.
By 1926, there were 47,000 licensed vehicles on the city's roads, and within 5 years that figure had increased by another 10,000, so the City Council decided to deal with the problem of growing congestion. First with traffic islands, and then a traffic solving measure of June 1933, which was said to be far-reaching and permanent. It consisted of a one-way system in the city centre, which was an initial success. It was called a foolproof system, and a city officer said that anyone who gets confused can scarcely claim average intelligence. Well, except that almost immediately the council was advised that the one-way system would have a lifespan of only 5 years in view of the probable increase in traffic. And you don't need average intelligence to know that they were correct in making that assumption.
And just sticking with history, if you'd like Norman to take a look at something in days gone by, why don't you get in touch? You can email news@madeinbirmingham.tv. So then, it's time to close the pages of the Birmingham News Weekend magazine for Sunday, but I'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning at 7 for the Birmingham News Review. And then the Weekend magazine will be here again next Saturday and Sunday night at 6. Plus, of course, you can always keep up to date with more news for Birmingham and the West Midlands every weekday at 6 and 8 in the evening. So that's it for now. Stay tuned, the weather's up next, and then after the break, as promised, Carl Jones returns with more Birmingham business. Thanks for watching. From me, for now, ta-ra bit.